Now let's begin.
3, 2, 1.
What happens here happens in many towns. The mafia. They're like cancer. No cure.
Who said you could come here?
You should stay out of other people's business.
Whatever it is you and your friends do it somewhere else.
You warning me?
I'm preparing you.
Is that a Timex?
No.
It's a movie. That's the median nerve that I'm compressing. That's a level 3. If it goes to level 4, you will shit on yourself.
Yo, it's your boy Fro. And today, I'm going to be talking about the new 2023 film, The Equalizer 3, starring my favorite actor, Denzel Washington, and directed by Antoine Fuqua. This is the third film of the Equalizer franchise, trilogy, and ain't nothing to it but to do it. Admittedly, there's going to be a very strong hint of bias through this review right off the bat, because Denzel's my favorite actor. I just feel that nobody can match his screen presence, nobody has his charisma, and the way he's able to carry through a screen and carry a whole film on his back, I believe is very unmatched. You can argue that there's better actors as far as being chameleons and doing different accents and transforming into different characters, but in my opinion, Denzel was unmatched in his screen presence and the way he commands the overall film. I'm going to start with what I loved in the film, and then I'm going to land with what I felt could have been improved. We have yet another fantastic Denzel performance with standout, strong moments of acting. I always like the little nuances and the choices that Denzel makes as far as the OCD that Robert McCall has, like folding out a napkin perfectly every time he sits for a cup of tea, and the way he plays around with nearby objects while he's talking or he's having a tense conversation with somebody. I thought that Denzel had a very strong acting scene in the second film where he has the gun to the young man's face and he's like, "You don't know what death is. You don't." I thought that scene was fantastic and some of Denzel's best acting in a while. There are one or two scenes in this film where I felt the same way, where I'm like, yo, Denzel still killing it at this age. He's nearing the age 70, but he still has it. He's very sharp as far as his overall acting. There was one particular scene that gave me some pretty big chills, and it's where Robert has the two guns. He's walking over to the villains and he's telling them, I understand death, I understand pain. And just that's the Denzel I know. He killed that moment. It was just a great moment in this film that just the chills shot up my arms. I thought the kills in this movie were awesome. I thought the violence had a great pace. It's not throughout, and you're not going to see it in every single scene, but just enough. When it pops up, it's bloody, brutal, pretty gruesome. And in my opinion, it felt like the darkest out of the trilogy. This was the darkest that we've seen Robert McCall dispatch the villains. And 2 had its moments, even 1 had its moments with the barbed wire scene and such, but 3 felt very mean. It felt very brooding and dark how he was fucking everybody up. And I loved it. I had a kick. I had a blast out of it. Ever since the first film, I always felt like Denzel had this feeling of being the boogeyman as Robert McCall. And I felt that vibe the strongest in this film. We have a handful of moments where McCall is lurking in the dark shadows and the alleys, stalking the villains, and the way he's slashing and dispatching these villains. I get a kick out of it. I really love that vibe that I'm sure Antoine Fuqua and the screenwriter brought to it, and Denzel. I cared about the Italian folks in the village. Their rapport and welcoming of McCall was pretty nice to see. Robert's walking around with the cane due to an injury that he gets near the beginning of the film, and we come across this old lady who's also walking with the cane, and in a very sweet way, she says, hey, go slower with the cane. Little moments like that are through the film, and I appreciated them when they popped up. As a big fan of Man on Fire, I was looking forward to the reunion between Denzel and Dakota Fanning, And I did enjoy their banter and their overall chemistry in Equalizer 3. There are moments where Dakota Fanning's delivery is a little bit dry and her acting can come across as a little bit wooden, but there is a joke in the film that Denzel zings at her of her dry delivery, so it didn't bother me as much after this moment. But I still liked her agent character and the way that she's tied into the story, especially near the ending, which I didn't expect. She has this cool little twist about her involving some other characters in the previous films that I'm not going to spoil, but it surprised me a bit and I did like the choice. Beautiful cinematography, dazzling visuals of the Italian village, the boats by the water, but just very pretty to look at. One thing I noticed in the theater was that the sound design was pretty damn good. For example, there's a character that gets his hand cut off, and the sounds of the knife piercing the flesh and how wet it is, I thought it was very effective. Man, the stabbing scenes in this film, just the overall sound design, the gunshots, very well done. I heard complaints about the villains and how people felt they were one-dimensional and they didn't have much of a personality to them, but I thought they did a pretty good job with making the audience hate them. Like, there's a couple actions, they have guns to little kids' heads. The kids don't die, but shit like that. Like, there was a couple moments where I'm like, oh, these are fucking scumbags. So I thought they did a pretty decent job. Are the villains the best villains ever? No, nowhere near close to it, but I didn't think they were nowhere bad either. Moving on to what I thought could have been better, as much as I enjoyed the ending, I did feel that it was a bit rushed, and I would have liked to see Robert McCall go against a bigger threat. Because the villain at the end of the film, it almost felt like that was pretty quick. I'm like, damn, like I wish he put up more of a fight. And don't get me wrong, it was really cool to see McCall just murk everybody in the finale and just go crazy and murk these mafia men. But at the same time, I do feel they could have gave Denzel a stronger villain. Now, that's the thing. I thought the villains did a decent job, but the main villain could have posed a bigger threat for McCall. Not an extreme biggie for me, but I felt it could have made the movie more doper, more kick-ass. But come to think of it, despite my Denzel overall bias, I really enjoyed Equalizer 3 a little bit more than I expected. Part 3s and trilogies can be very skeptical, but I really enjoyed this one. I loved Equalizer 3 on my first watch, and I'll happily go for a second viewing. It would be hard to pick for me, but I think 3 contains Denzel's strongest performance in the trilogy. He does such an awesome job from switching to being sympathetic for the villagers and helping the innocent people to being an ice-cold killer when he's dispatching the villains. First watch, I'm going to give the Equalizer 3 a light 9 out of 10. And that's it, y'all. It's your boy Fro. Until next time, did you enjoy the Equalizer 3? Did you like it? Did you hate it? It wasn't your cup of tea? You rocked with it? Let me know. Comment below. Subscribe for more Fro. And until next time, peace.